Okay, welcome to part 2 of our knitting socks. We are going to work on the heel flap next, okay? And the heel flap is this little section. You'll see it's a bit on the ribbed side. That gives it a little bit extra strength for when you wear, shoes so it doesn't rub away. So we have the heel flap, then we'll be doing the turning the heel, okay? And the last part of the heel is the gusset, which is this triangle here, because once we make our heel flap and we turn the heel, we have to join the stitches back together, okay? So I'm going to go over how to do the heel flap in this video, okay? So if we look at our pattern, the pattern tells us that we're going to knit 10 stitches or 11, depending on if you're making the larger size. And then you're going to turn your work. Now that may seem a little bit funny with the circular needles, but for the heel flap, we'll be treating it as if we're working a flat piece. So we'll be turning at the end of each row. Okay. Then you're going to purl 20 stitches with the same needle. Okay. You should have 20 stitches on one needle, and then you should have the remaining 20 stitches. I like to put on 2 double point needles. You can put them on a stitch holder. You can put them on a piece of yarn and hold them until you're done. However you want to do it. I just find by putting them on 2 double pointed needles, instead of 1, it gives me a little bit easier ply when I'm actually working. Okay, so let's go ahead and start making the heel flap. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to knit 10 stitches. Okay, move the yarn to the back, and we knit 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, lost one. And if you should find that you split your stitches, which is what I did here, just gently take it off the needle, and then you're going to insert and kind of pull up a little bit until you get all those threads, put it back on your needle, and then go ahead and knit. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more for 10. Okay, now those remaining stitches, I'm going to go ahead and put them on another needle. Okay, and again, we're just moving them as if we're purling. Okay, so I have an empty needle now. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to purl 20 stitches. Okay, it may feel a little bit odd because you're going in the wrong direction for what you've been doing, but you'll get used to it within a few rows. 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now they said to knit to purl 20 with the same needle, so I'm going to drop my empty needle and I'm going to continue purling another 10. Okay, this is when it gets a little dicey because when you switch from 4 needles to 3 needles, it kind of tightens up, but we'll untighten it in a minute. 4, 5, 6, and 10. And then I'm just going to count to make sure that we have all 20 stitches. You want to do that because it's really going to mess up the next portion if you don't have the right number of stitches. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 20 stitches. Okay, now these remaining needles, I'm going to put 10 on each needle. Okay, just going to divide up the 20. 1, 2, 3, Okay. And then these guys are just going to hang out there. Okay. And we're going to be working on the 20 stitches that are on our needle. So now the heel flap, row 1, says that you're going to slip 1 purlwise with the yarn in the back. Okay. And the way that you do that is you're going to keep the yarn in the knitting position. Normally when you purl, you'd bring the yarn to the front. We're going to keep the yarn in the back, but we're going to slip 1 as if we're purling. And then we're going to knit the next stitch. And then we're going to slip 1 as if we purl, but the yarn is still in the back. And then we're going to knit the next one, and you're going to do this for the whole entire row. And this is creating, when we turn, I'll show you, it's doubling the yarn, so that way it'll be thicker. Okay? And it'll give your heel a little bit more cushion and a little bit more durability. Okay. And again, we knit 1, and then we slip 1 with the yarn in the back. We knit 1, slip 1, knit 1. Okay, so that's row 1 done. And then we're going to turn. Okay, we're going to keep working back and forth with this one. So row 2 says to slip 1 purlwise with the yarn in the front. So that's normal purl position. And you're just going to slip 1. Okay. You can give it a little bit of a tug because your slip stitches, you want them to be even, not too loose, because we'll be using them when we have to pick up stitches. Okay. So now what we're going to do is row 2 says to purl to the end of the round. So you're just going to purl like normal to the end of your round. And you just kind of ignore the other 2 double pointed needles. You're not really using them at all. Okay. Okay. And we're just purling like normal. Now, you can see that where we slip them, they create like a little bit of a thicker fabric. It's easier. This yarn, it's a little hard to see. You can definitely feel it though. And that'll be where the slip stitches are. Okay. So we work all the way to the end. And again, the numbers are not changing. You're going to have 20 stitches or 22 stitches, okay, if you're making the larger size. So that is row 2. The pattern says to repeat row 1 and 2 until a total of 20 or 22 rows have been worked, okay? So we've already done 2, you got to do 20 more. Okay, so again, I'm just going to show you with the slipping. So we're going to slip the first one as if we're purling with the yarn in the back. Okay, and then we knit the next one. And then we slip and we knit. Okay, and then the return row is we're just going to purl. Okay, and that's all you're going to do for the heel flap. And I will show you part 3, turning the heel, next.